Welcome to the Black Entrepreneur Experience podcast, inside the business, buzz, and brilliance of Black entrepreneurs. Here is your host, Dr. Frances Richards.
What happens in Vegas goes all over the world on Black Entrepreneur Experience, episode 57. Thank you for joining us for Black Entrepreneur Experience. I'm your host, Dr. Frances Richards, and this is where we shine the light on the most successful Black entrepreneurs in the world. I am so honored to have with us today Myra McKnight. She's the president and CEO of Master Relationship. She's a coach expert, and she actually her website is Premarital Counseling Atlanta.
But the official name for our company is Better One, Better Two Relationship Academy. And this is where we enrich lives of married folk, as well as kind of give young people or those that are just starting a relationship a glimpse of what to expect and how to navigate through the landmines. We are real talk and clinical, so we put the two together. So we make it fun and exciting for our couples and also singles that come to our office.
So would you say that for your company, do you get more couples? Do you get more singles? Is it 50?
Well, we get more couples that come in. Outside of that, I work with young ladies. I work with single women. But we get more couples that come in, whether they are living together as a couple for some time or whether they've been married. I think the oldest couple we got was like 36 years.
Wonderful. So take us back to this journey. How did you guys decide this was the business for you, and what was that aha moment that you knew that it was going to be successful?
Well, for me, Frances, what really made a difference for me was because I didn't grow up in a household to where it was kind of what you would say lovey-dovey and all was well. And I knew as coming up as a young girl how I wanted to be, what type of relationship I wanted to have. And that was very important to me. My husband has a background of the family structure of being together, and that was important to him as well. And when we started with our couples, we realized that, wow, people wanting to have someone to help to identify with. And not so much as a therapist or a counselor or a psychiatrist, just as a friend. And that's where we begin that journey of friendship, building that relationship with those couples and making what we do with them fun and having fun. I mean, there are nights that they're there to at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock and we're laughing, we're having fun, but they're learning and they're also experiencing each other as well.
So are you doing the counseling like just couples, or are you doing it group couples, or is it just one-on-one with the couples?
Well, we do one-on-one with the couples. It's a male-female perspective. So Ken and I are always there with our couples if they want it individually. At one time we were doing relationship Sundays. But next year, what I've decided to do is to put relationship like premarital and next level. I'm going to put them together, a premarital education conference. And that's a little bit different, and that's going to be in a group format. And we're going to have couples to facilitate those groups for the couples to come in. Because, if you haven't been married and you're just now getting married, sometimes you learn a whole lot when you're with other people like you. But there are couples that possibly, depending on who they are and what type of profession they have, they don't want to go into the couples space. Into the group space. So what happens is we see those couples one-on-one. Then there are some, that just want to keep that privacy, and we see them one-on-one. So Ken and I are always there to represent.
Myra, tell us, how did you figure out what it is you want? Because a lot of times when you said that your husband, Ken, he came from a loving, lovey-dovey type relationship. And I know that there's a lot of, individuals that's listening to this podcast, especially when I think about women that I know, and they are, looking for someone, they want to settle down, they hear I can't find a husband. There's no good men. So how did you know that this is what you want? Because a lot of times when you're in a dysfunctional family, which a lot of us come from dysfunctional families, what happens is we bring that baggage. And so we happen to look for what we're not really looking for. So how did you figure that out, that this is what I'm looking for, and you landed exactly what it is you wanted?
Well, let me go back. The first time I didn't land it. I was married before because I thought I was supposed to be married. After I came from college and came home, all my friends were married. They had kids, and I'm thinking I had lost out on something and made a big mistake and got married. So I passed that. I moved out of that realm, and now I call it a licensed relationship. But the next question you asked was how do I get to the point to get what I wanted? Well, I had to do a self-inventory of me and things about me that I liked or that I didn't like, how to begin to become what I wanted to have. And I didn't worry about, it was kind of funny though, Francis, I didn't worry about a lot of things. How he looked, how much money he made, those kind of things. But what I looked at in my prayer was that every time I would think about it or pray about it, I would want that man to have a heart like me. Because, somebody's looking for you. And I tell the ladies that in my classes that there is a man that's looking for a woman just like you. And when you begin to believe that, I believe that that energy starts to stir up. I have to understand that that man is created. He's not going to come all well and equipped. He has to be created. And unfortunately and fortunately, women are the ones that create what they want. So you create your man, but you can't create him if you have attitudes, if you are one-sided, if it has to be a certain kind of way and things like that, But a woman can create the man that she wants in her life, but he has to be open.
Can you describe to us, how would you define, Myra, success? And I don't know if you want to talk about this in terms of a business or if you want to talk about this in relationship to a successful.
Well, let me first say about a business. I'm going to tell you, in business, you have to be creative. You got to know what you want, and you have to be creative. I was not going to go out of here and duplicate everything everybody else did. You can duplicate to a point, but then there comes a time when you have to. I realized standing out, doing it from the male-female perspective is not something that's always done. Now, they do it, but it's not done on a consistent basis. I realized that, my husband is a master in clinical counseling, and I'm a certified relationship expert. So putting those two together meant that they were going to get the best of both worlds. And I also realized that people hate going to doctors. They hate going to people to analyze them. They hate going to people that are just writing notes on them. So that's not everybody, but some people like to have that kind of backyard feel, that family reunion type. I'm talking to my aunt and uncle, or I'm talking to my niece and nephew kind of thing, because what it does is it disarms them. I look at that and I looked at how I would want to feel, begin to create those things that's applying to man, begin to create those things that you see the average person and that the average person is going to pay for. And that's what makes a good business. You have to be creative and make sure that it's not exactly like someone else, because then you're competing with them in a different.
How long did it take for this definition, your definition of success, to manifest in your life and in your business?
In the beginning, of course, learning how to tweak it, learning what was bringing in clients. And after about 3 years, things start to just kind of overflow and start to move. And then you find out, because we did a lot of guerrilla marketing, we didn't pay for a lot of advertising and things of that nature. And they got it everywhere and all over everywhere. You can kind of go online and find that. But at about between 3 to 5 years, we began pretty stable, to the point where we're consistent, where we had repeat couples coming back, or we had referrals. We never advertised anywhere at all outside of our website, but we had a lot of referrals. Somebody was always referring us, and we didn't even remember who the referral was that was referring us. So it took about 3 to 5 years of consistency, of staying with it, realizing your highs and your lows. Our lowest time usually is from like October to December. And from January, when people get engaged over the holidays for the rest of the year, that's our highest time. So figuring out your highs and your lows, and how that works as far as monetary goes, and always adding to your business to keep relevant for your couples or whoever within your business, but you have to stay relevant.
Oh, thank you for being transparent about that, Myra. I'm going to kind of backtrack. And you had mentioned about you had went to college and then you got married. Your college degree, is it directly proportionate, and is it in line with what you're doing now, or is it a total shift?
Total shift. It's a total shift because what I do is what's in my heart to do. One thing about that, people say, what your passion is, you can do for free. Well, I take issues to that to a certain extent, because if it's your passion and you're doing it all the time, you do have to get paid. But I did take a total shift because I was going into a whole different genre of business, actually business and legal. And I decided that was not bringing me what I wanted, and it was not flexible enough, because I wanted to be able to do my own thing. So therefore, I had to choose a business that was going to give me all of those qualities that I wanted. And sometimes, Francis, when you get into business on your own and start that business, sometimes you are not going to get everything you need, but you can make that happen if that's what you want. At the end of the day, if time is what you need, then I was able to schedule my time. I was able to, if I need to work 12 hours, I will. If I need to be off for 2 days, I could. So I had to, there are sacrifices up and down, but making that shift was looking at what was going to benefit Myra, which was most important.
Share with our audience, what is a daily or a weekly habit that you do consistently that has given you the greatest success?
Every day I get up. Every day I am up at 5 o'clock. And I'm preparing my day of what I need to do. Usually, if I'm not with a client or have a client registered to meet with, from 10 to 2, I'm networking. I'm out there talking to people. I'm building up sponsorships for upcoming events. I'm on the phone talking to somebody. So about 2 o'clock, I wind down. I might be at the Chamber of Commerce, but I'm connecting with people 4 hours a day. And that's consistent. That's what I do on a consistent basis. And it yields a lot of benefits when you do that, because you do have to be out and about, and people have to know who you are. And that's the best advertising that you can actually, can even believe that you can get. Developing more opportunities for people to come into your space or into your business. So that's the biggest thing that I know I do every day, which pays off in my business. And I've done that for years now, is to get up every day and talk to people.
What's your biggest challenge of being an entrepreneur?
The biggest challenge, and I've rectified that a couple of years ago, the business challenge was you have to be there to get paid. That's the biggest challenge, because as an entrepreneur, it's just you. So it's just me and my husband. So that's how we get paid. So I had to think of different ways on how I could get paid without being there. And that's where in 2018, bringing the books in, because I was so busy, and that was so crazy. I was so busy doing so many things that I had like 4 books in my computer. So I had to back up for some things so that I can finish those books. Also creating a different program, an additional program for couples, and which I did create. And this program is for seniors to love again, and how to be in love as a senior. Because sometimes people forget about that. So that was another niche that I created. And that time span that you have to make sure that you have, so that as you grow your business, that you're not putting yourself in a position where you're overloaded too much. So those were some of the variables that I used at this time actually, in creating different niches.
Is the biggest achievement so far in your business?
The biggest achievement that we have is making a difference in the lives of couples. That's our biggest achievement. That's our biggest achievement. And helping entrepreneurs, young people, not entrepreneurs, but millennials, helping millennials see relationships different life.
Lesson, Myra, you wish you knew before starting your business?
I wish I knew, of course, how difficult it would be starting. I probably would have taken some different shortcuts, or I would have gone a different route. I would not have tried to reinvent the wheel. And that's something that I would have done, definitely. And when I mentor some ladies or those that want to do what I do, when I mentor them, that's something that I really push, is for them not to reinvent the wheel, but to add to it.
Who are your top 2 influencers in your life, and what lessons did they teach you?
Well, gosh, I got so many. My goodness. I have so many. Well, I'm going to say the first person that influenced me tremendously is my mom. My mom had my brother and I at a young age, and she didn't finish school. And after high school, she went back and got her GED. Then she went and got her associates, and then she went and got her bachelor's, and then she opened up a child center. So that right there was and then she had 4 children, and one was handicapped. So that was a big deal, seeing her do that, because she would come home from her job, and she would swing home before she goes into go to class. I'd always have fixed her lunch, and she'll toot the horn, and I'll run out. And I was in high school. I run out and I would give her her lunch while I stayed home and cooked for my brothers and sisters. So, having that kind of tenacity to want to do that at that age and with 4 children was just remarkable to me. So that was the first time I've seen business and entrepreneurship, was with my mom. And of course, my faith that keeps me moving is important. And my husband's been really, he's very supportive in anything that I do. And you always have to have a support system. So he's influenced me to do things that I would not normally do. So that has been a blessing to me as well.
This is interesting, because when you talk about you guys working together, and you're always together in a couple session. And what I envision is, I think about a kind of a ministry, and a pastor and his wife, and they're co-pastoring the church. And so when you think about marriage, I've been married, like yourself, I was married before, and now my second marriage, it's 25 years. And so everything is not cherries. Everything is not roses. Sometimes you get the pit. So how do you put on your game face when you've had a challenge? And you have to be in front of that couple at that time. And I always think about that, when I think about pastors and their co-parenting, and co-pastoring, and they both have to be on the pulpit, and it's almost like, how do you deal with that?
Well, my husband would say I don't, because my husband is clinical, and he's kind of methodical, but I'm pretty much just straightforward, real talk. So we don't actually have a lot of times, that happens, because we use ourselves as an example. So that takes the pressure off of us. If, sometimes you're a pastor or something else, any other suffix, what you're doing is you're trying to live up to that. We're not trying to live up to that, because we're not perfect. But what we have done is learn how to navigate through the landmine. So when we get our couples, we make them feel, we disarm them, because we're like, look, we're all on the same journey here. We might go right because we know to go right, and that's the right thing to do. And you might go left, and that's the wrong thing to do. So we're here to give you the tools you need so that you can go the right way, because we've gone the wrong way before ourselves. So we don't really, honestly, seriously, transparency and all, we don't really run into that, because we're not trying to make them think that we don't ever have an issue.
So, if someone wrote a book about you today, Myra, what would they learn about you today that they didn't know?
What would they learn about me today that they didn't know before? Well, they would. Well, I'm gonna tell you what they would learn. They would learn that Myra was at one time in her life a very quiet young lady, very shy, and she didn't talk a lot, which they would not believe. But that would be one thing that they were like, no, I don't believe that from her. But very shy, as a young girl. I did not have a lot of friends. I didn't want a lot of friends. And I was an introvert. And even to some point, Francis, today I still am. I just talk a lot when I'm doing my shows or I'm talking or I'm doing a conference. But pretty much I'm a homebody. My husband is the one that's up and out there, not me, but he pulls me out and gets me out of there. But that's something that they would be surprised at.
And thanks for that. And what do you think caused that shift? Is it because of the business? Because you mentioned that you're out doing a lot of networking. So is it the business that had brought you to that point where you're not as shy as you used to be?
Well, the shyness came and left, but my boldness was always there, but behind the scenes. And getting out doing the networking, I have to admit, came a lot from my husband because he would pull me out. We protect each other in different ways. And I will always do the admin stuff and all the legal kind of stuff behind the scenes for him. And he was the one that's like, babe, you need to go do this, go do that. And if I wanted my business to succeed, I had to, kind of hit that grind. I had to go and experience those things that every business person experiences. So that made the shift for me I would say about 15 years ago or so, 15, 20 years ago. That was a shift. I made that shift to decide that I wanted to succeed. And if I wanted to be a success, then I had to begin to do those things that kind of gave me that fear. And they paid off.
How did you go about naming your business? Why don't you tell our audience that?
Better One, Better Two, Relationship Academy. I went by that because it takes a better person to be a better partner. Mm. And that's something we preach all the time. If I can be a better person, then I can be a better partner. And that's important. My husband has to work on him, and I have to work on me so that we can work on ourselves, our marriage, and our relationship. So that's where Better One, Better Two came from.
That's brilliant. Mm-hmm. So talk to a younger you, Myra. What advice would you give to a younger Myra?
A younger Myra, if I would tell her that she needs to be more bold. Don't look at what other people are doing, especially, when you grow up, you go to college and you're around your friends and things like that. You always think the grass is greener on their side and not yours. And especially if you are unmarried. And that's always been an issue with women. When they're not married, they figure, oh, there's something wrong with me, but there's nothing wrong with her. How did she get somebody and I don't have anybody? But even if you're not married, I think women are not married because that's a choice that they've made. They say they can't find anybody, but finding that person is that person within yourself. So I would tell myself to just trust my process and continue to work on myself, traveling more. At a young age, I would say that, do international traveling, do a lot of things, be involved in a lot of things, because whatever you like doing, that's where he'll be, for sure.
So how do you balance your personal life, family life, and your business life?
I structure it to a point to where I have certain days that I do have off and certain days that I work. The days that I'm off, I'm off. Coincide that, me and my husband together, we take every other month to once a quarter, we take trips somewhere to kind of de-escalate a little bit. So there are days that I'm off and I take those days. And even if I get calls that want to see me that day, I don't see them. I wait and see them on another day. that I'm actually open.
So, Myra, what is a technology tool or a technology platform that is a must-have for you in managing your business day to day?
Well, of course, the social media piece. I have someone that kind of, and that's what you're talking about, the social media.
It could be social media, it could be an app, it could be any tool or technology, a platform that is a must-have for you. If you want to talk about social media, that's fine. If it's another platform, that's fine too.
Okay, usually I use Hootsuite, and that's an app that I use. I use also Square. That's an app that I use. We use it for payments coming in and sending invoices. And I try to use those apps that don't cost a lot, don't cost anything pretty much. Also for scheduling, I'll use Square. Hootsuite because I'm a Twitter person, so that covers my all of my social media. I do that, and definitely WordPress is good. Some of those you can just get in to do my blog. They're free, and that helps because you can find yourself needing 10 different apps and paying, and that could be expensive to do that. So I always look for those apps that are free. Doing my a radio show and things of that nature, I pick those apps. If I'm having conference calls, I'm usually doing Zoom, or I'll do anytime meeting to help, or free conference call. So that's about 8 of them right there.
Yes, thank you for that. What can we do, or what responsibility do you feel you and your company have to inspire more folks that look like us to become entrepreneurs?
Another part of what we do is we work with children, teenagers, I should say, and to inspire them. And I work with ladies to inspire them. But what we do, as far as a company goes, what I do when I go out and I network, I go to the schools and I talk to our young people about going into business for themselves, to think about it today. I go into some of the shelters where people feel, destitute, down and out. And I'll even have a list or something I might get from Huffington Post or an article that was sent, or even I might Google some things to take with me to help them understand how they can start anything. I don't care if it's building kites. It doesn't matter. Whoever thought dog walking would be a business. And so what I am about and what my motivation is to help people that look like us to be as self-sufficient as possible, to help them understand that they must be self-sufficient and how important it is for them in their lives within the next 10 years, why they need to be there and to be able to call their own shots. I work hard to especially in women as well, because, and women that look like us, when they are in their 60s and 70 years old, 60% of women it's estimated 60% of them will live in poverty. So when I do my Wise Wives Club or Better Woman Club, I'm always talking to women about what are you going to do for you? Where are you? Where is your credit? Where is your retirement funds? Where is your checking account? What are you doing to benefit you within the next 10, 15, 20 years of your life? If you have a husband or if you don't have a husband, that's important that you are self-sufficient, period. So that's something that I push a lot. And with our young women, to try to deter them from getting married too soon or having a family too soon, but to build that reservoir, to start buying property, start flipping houses, find a niche. So that's what Better One, Better Two Relationship Academy, we're about building relationships just total all over. And that's just another niche that we do on a volunteer basis, is to help people realize you can do it. You just have to decide what you want to do, but you can do it.
Let's talk about risk or failure. What is that worst moment in business, and what was your takeaway, Myra?
The worst moment in business was not hiring an admin, not hiring somebody off the jump to do all the little stuff, because as well as being kind of frugal, I didn't want to spend that money because I knew how to do it. But it wasn't about knowing how to do it. It was about not having time to do it. So I found a way. I didn't do it at first, which was not good because things got messed up and oh, it was just crazy. So I found a way to be able to hire students, some college students, and also some seniors that wanted something to do. And so they would come into the office and just do some of the small things that I need to do. I had to get out of the habit of like, you know what, I can do it myself. I can get it faster done without me having to teach you how to do it. But I had to come out of that because you got to teach somebody how to do it. So I learned from that as well that you do have to have somebody to help you. You have to have a gatekeeper. And because I didn't want to always have to be the one that they talk to when they call on the phone. And a gatekeeper is always good to have because it wards off of, it gives a better presence for one, and it wards off a lot of unwanted solicitation that you get.
Give us 3 truths that you've learned in life or business so far.
3 truths. Definitely, for one, to thy own self be true. That's one of my favorite ones because in business, you got to be true to yourself. Character means everything. You have to be the kind of entrepreneur or business person that people can trust. And if they can't trust you, you have already set yourself up for failure. And the third one is everything is not all about money. Because you'll find if you're pushing just for money, if you're doing it just for money, then you're going to be continually chasing the money. People really notice if you care about them or you care about getting paid. And the kind of business that I have is it's difficult to shortcut a couple. I can't say I'm not going to give you all of me because all of me is what I give. So to their own self be true is definitely important. And character is everything. It's important. And it's not all about money at the end of the day. Because if you don't get one client, you'll find out if you're not chasing clients just for the money, that next client can bring you 5 times of what you would have gotten on that one.
So, Myra, what book would you recommend to our audience and why?
Well, the book I would recommend, definitely Zig Ziglar, Top Seller. That's a book that I recommend because we're all selling something. It helps to understand the attitude behind that. It's important that you understand that selling is an emotion, and you have to touch people in their emotions for them to even give you that trusting opportunity that allows them to open up for you. And in reading Zig Ziglar's book, it helps you performance in your selling and how you present yourself to people, and that's a big deal. And another one, which is funny, that I've always had forever and a day, was The Art of the Deal. Of course, with our infamous president. My husband and I both had that in our repertoire because it was different. And I wanted to get it from back then when we had that book. It was measuring the difference between an African American, a non-African American, and we put that. You take what's good and you leave the rest. The Making of a Millionaire. That's another great book that will help you get the mindset that you need to go get what you want. And let me back up too. Let me say this: you have to be careful not to always cater to. You can be in business that people look like me and you, but you don't have to always cater to people that look like me and you. And that's one of the big downfalls that sometimes we have. You want to be broad. You want to cater to all kinds of people. We have basketball players all over the country that's in Japan and the other ones in someplace else. But you have to be able to cross all lines. Some people just stick with Christian people. You're missing, as they say, you're leaving money on the table. You got to be broad. You got to be open. You got to be with everybody. You have to tweak your business so that your business will accommodate everybody, not just one genre of people, not just one color of people. That's important as well.
What milestone do you want to accomplish for your business over the next couple of years?
What I'm working on now, as you probably see on the website, is our offices, a satellite office opening up in North Carolina and also in Jacksonville, Florida. And I want to actually have chapters of Better One, Better Two in metropolitan cities. I do. That's my goal. Right now I'm starting south, and then I'm going to move up north and start to begin to certify persons to do exactly what I do, the way I do it, because it's been very successful for couples across the board. So that's what I'm looking to do.
So are you looking to franchise the business?
And yeah, that's a thought. That's definitely a thought that I'm looking to do. My husband and I I've been kind of mulling over that, but close to that. Haven't decided as of yet. But I believe that it brings a different type of common practical sense to relationships. Not because relationships, people say relationships are difficult, but Francis, life is difficult. So, we take the bitter with the sweet. But I think that the approach that we give is something that can be franchised out so that it can benefit more people.
If you had to do it all over again, would you do the same business and the same industry? And if yes, why?
Yes, I would do the same business in the same industry because it matters. People matter. Life matters. And that's extremely important. And you're going to have relationships. Relationships are here. And no matter how bad people say they are and how difficult they are, relationships are here. And I think that having something practical and people understanding the practicality of how they can better equip themselves to be a better person so that they can be in a better relationship, I think less people would be unmarried.
So, Myra, what, if anything, would make you stop?
Nothing. Only thing if I wasn't here, other than that, but this is what I do. This is me. It's actually bigger than me and my husband, and we realize that. So, we're in the workings of getting younger people to duplicate us so that they can go into their space and area, assist other couples in their age.
One of the biggest challenges that we hear individuals in reference to why they will not start a business or why their business failed is about capital. So can you share with our audience, how did you finance your business?
Prior to actually working the business, I worked at the state capitol as a legal assistant. So I was working. And I tell people now today, what you have to do is finance your business through your work. Even if it means that you have to go work a temporary job or work the job that you're working, get with your partner or whoever you want to partner with and have a certain amount of money that you want to put aside for your business. One thing I would say, also too, the business failed because a lot of times you do too much. You run in, you get an office, you get the Black Cherry office, furniture and things of that nature. They have now what they call virtual offices. And what I think that if you're starting off in the business, that's what you want to do. You don't want to go spend money for an office, a standalone office. Get a virtual office. If you don't have a receptionist, don't try to get a receptionist. You can make sure whatever you do is no contract to it. That you're not signing a contract. You can go and get a virtual assistant that can work for you for 30 days, or you can get a virtual receptionist that will answer your phone. There's ways to do it. Even if you don't have money for that, what you can do is also you can get a regular cell phone and make that be your office line. You don't want your cell phone number to be your office, your personal cell phone number to be your office line. Get another number, have that 800 number, $10, have it transferred to that other phone, and you have your office phone. So capital is important, but you got to begin to build your credibility up in order to make that happen. Yeah, it can cause a problem, but if you're starting off trying to blow it out the water, then you're going to be stuck because it's going to take 3 to 5 years for your business to start moving in a direction to where you can say, wow, we really did good this month. But before then, you're going to be a hit and miss.
So Myra, if you conducted this interview, what is the one question that you would have asked yourself? And I'd like you to answer that.
I probably would have asked myself, are you ever too old to start a new business? And the question would be no.
Thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you give our audience a parting piece of advice?
Well, Francis, my parting piece of advice for business is to let no one talk you out of what you want to do. to put your head down, to say, I'm going to do it, because you're going to run against some obstacles. You're going to have family, you're going to have friends that are going to tell you what you can't do and what you shouldn't do. Business doesn't grow to a level of 100,000 or 200,000 or $1 million in a day. What it takes is consistency, and it takes for you to push no matter what. And sometimes you're the only one pushing. So don't worry about that. Put your blinders on and keep going. If this is something that you can see in the long run, and you can see that it's bigger than you, that's how businesses are started. There is not a business that exists today that didn't start maybe in the mind of somebody else, in the garage of someone else, or just on a piece of paper for it to get there. So keep pushing and don't give up.
So now we've come to the part of our podcast interview that we call the Fun Facts Lightning Round. And I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and I want you to give me very quick answers. If it's something that you desire not to answer, feel free to say pass. Are you ready, Myra, for the Fun Fact Lightning Round?
I'm ready.
The last movie you saw?
Hope Springs.
You relax doing what?
Reading.
Your favorite singer or rapper?
My favorite singer is Whitney Houston.
Your favorite dance song?
Boogie Down, Baby.
What food you eat every week, no matter what?
Oh my goodness. What food I eat every week, no matter what, is going to be some strawberries.
And your favorite month?
Favorite month? Oh, October.
Thank you so much, Myra, for joining us on Black Entrepreneur Experience. But before we conclude, I would like you to share with our audience what is the best way for them to connect with you and to support your business.
Well, you know what? I would love for you to give me a call and connect with me at premaritalconstantatlanta.com, which is our website, and also Better One, Better Two Relationship Academy. And if you will just Google Myra McKnight, you'll find me on Twitter, all social media platforms. Facebook is Myra McKnight, and I would love for you to like me and introduce yourself to me so that we can connect every morning. So that's how you will get a hold of me.
Thank you, Myra. That's a wrap, and we appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening and subscribing to Black Entrepreneur Experience. We would love for you to leave a review and rating on iTunes and share with your friends. For show notes and more episodes, go to www.beepodcast.com. Join us next Wednesday, and remember, green is the new black. So keep your bank accounts and your business in the black.